its dire financial situation other than removing foreign ownership restrictions. Later today, about 12:15 Eastern Daylight Time, so that's in about 2 hours' time, the Qantas CEO Alan Joyce will be speaking to the committee. But right now, the TWU's National Secretary Tony Sheldon is answering a few questions. Let's take a listen in.
And know Tony well, and Shane. You've mentioned, Mr Sheldon, that these jobs are cumulative, if so to speak, on the previously announced jobs, particularly in Adelaide, where the catering centre is closing next month.
Yes.
So it's 5,150 if I was being parochial. The real issue is, given that it's unclear where these job savings or losses will come from, in your view, is it inevitable that will have to be some surgery? Like, I'll give you a hypothetical. Qantas closes in Adelaide and Jetstar services it. Therefore, you take all of the Qantas workers out of Adelaide. Is there a capacity, in your view, to further reduce the workforce and maintain the scope and extent of services?
There's no logical sense when they're saying that for every one, Alan Joyce has said, for every one plane that Virgin puts into the air, they'll put two, or every one seat, they'll put two seats. That means there's a requirement for an increased number of labour to do the work. The necessity to make the necessity of the labour content for the work to be formed doesn't require reduced staff, it requires an increase in staff. The logic tells you that. How they efficiently do that and how they get economies of scale, that they're important questions, how they get productivity on those. But the logic always says that you have to, in that sort of circumstance, that you need to be putting more people to get the work done because there's an increased amount of work that's now being required. It again, highlights the vagaries of the decisions they're making, and one could argue, and I would certainly say a consideration for me was when the company made this decision, was it directed at trying to get a market response regardless of devastating 5,000 families, and was it trying to get a government response regardless of devastating 5,000 families. They sacrificed members of the Australian community to try to make a political point.
So the 5,000 jobs may not come about in 2017. It may be operationally impossible to achieve those things, given that they've got a level of services. They need to put bags on planes. They need to fuel them. So in 2017, this might have been a massive, very explosive, emotional statement, particularly for those people who work at Qantas and now fear for their jobs, and I meet them every day I go in and out of an airport. People are wondering what their future holds and what their CEO's got in store for them. So are you saying that this may not necessarily be a realistic attempt to achieve 5,000 less positions?
There won't be 5,000 less positions, there'll be 5,000 less full-time employees. So there'll be many thousands of people will be given precarious employment, which means they'll be put on as part-timers. In the case of one of the agreements, they'll be $200 below the minimum wage. What Qantas has done for example, we have areas in RAMP, because of the way the Industrial Relations Act works now, we'll have four people working for 4 different companies wearing the same shirt as Qantas and all getting paid different pay rates. It's not based on quality of service, it's not based on performance, it's based on the cheapest and the nastiest way they can run the operation.
Okay, we'll leave that there for the moment. That was Tony Sheldon from the Transport Workers Union speaking to that Senate committee that's looking into the situation facing Qantas right now. It released its half-yearly results a couple of weeks ago and said that it needed to cut 5,000 jobs. We also had the government announcement recently on foreign ownership rules, but it doesn't look like that's going to get through the upper house. So that committee hearing is continuing through today, and there are several other unions that are going to be talking this morning before Alan Joyce speaks there in about 2 hours' time, and we'll be bringing you that some of that Alan Joyce testimony before that committee later today here on ABC News 24. Malaysian authorities